All righty. Hey, good evening, Mike. You're back.
I'm back. Yeah, it's been a while. Gunsin the701.com or GAT. What do we
Gat.
know?
Gat
GAT.
701. Uh-oh, looks like we're already being hit over there by Kick. Well, it says you stream so well, so that's why I followed you. I do see you streaming a lot, yet still not affiliated and partnered. Oh, blah 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 blah.
Blah, 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 blah. Yeah.
You gotta love it, don't you? I mean,
First people on there. Even they beat Eric. They beat Eric to us.
hey,
Yeah.
Eric, dude. Hey, Eric. Good evening. Sipping some good whiskey and making some freedom seeds. Good deal. South Dakota deer season does open up this coming weekend. But before we do that, being you've been gone so long, I think we need to go ahead and have you just tell us
There
what
we
the
go.
Second Amendment is.
A well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state, the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed.
That's right. That's right. And I think it just got a little safer with the elections. I mean, people can say what they want about Trump on different things. We all know who the man is. I mean, let's face it, he's been running since 2015, right? If you don't
Right.
know who he is by now, then I guess you're never gonna know. In a way. Hey, Trampus, good evening. Good to have Trampus. See, this looks great. All the guys at Farm and Ranch around here now, Mike.
Yep.
Now we can actually join in at 7 o'clock our time.
That's right. Because, yeah, when everything's done, we got all our most of our stuff done down here in the South as well. So, yeah.
Hey, Mr. Brian Warner, fellow MVE. And I think, you know what, Brian? I think we're safe from that. We can do the check mark safe from the Biden Harris administration as MVEs now.
Still got 80 days, don't you? Something like that.
Yeah, something like that. I think we can hold them. I think we can hold the line. I do believe it. So, anyway, yeah, it's been an interesting week. I mean, yeah, just think about it. The election was a week ago yesterday, so
Yeah.
a lot of things have been taking place. A lot of decisions are being made. I figured he was going to move at lightning speed, and he is when you compare it, usually to a transition, and it's because let's face it, he was in there for 4 years, right, Mike?
Right.
And then he was out for 4 years, but he never did really quit campaigning. And I'm sure he's been putting his team together for a long time. I caught wind of it at the beginning of the year that there was something happening. And obviously it was true because now all these names are just just about every day he's putting out a press release. And that's
Well,
not
one of the things that they're worried about is that he's going to be able to get all these people through by doing what's the thing called when you
resource appointment.
resource appointment. And here's my problem with sliding that. If it was such a bad thing, why didn't you take it out when you were in control? I mean, seriously, people are complaining now about the recess appointments, but they enjoyed it when it was used by other presidents.
Right. And Biden used it. Obama used. In fact,
Used
Obama
it.
tried to put Merrick Garland in as the Supreme Court justice.
And we
Yeah.
were talking about that. Merrick Garland has turned out to be, and he was supposed to be the savior of the Democratic Party as far as putting everybody in jail. That man could not arrest. I'm trying to find an analogy for it, but it's just how bad and stupid and useless the waste of. Can we get a refund on that one?
Yeah, and I got no use for Merrick Garland, and I'm sure a lot of other people don't, and rightfully so. The guy is not a good person, and he definitely wasn't a good attorney general. That's for sure.
Yeah.
So yeah, Merrick Garland was a waste. He'd have been guys if he would have been on the Supreme Court. I am glad that the Republicans held their ground. We did not have control at that time, but you needed the 60 vote threshold. I know that Schumer had talked about doing, quote, the nuclear option, which would have alleviated it and made it simple majority of 51.
Right.
That would have been a catastrophic appointment to the Supreme Court. It truly would have for rights. And I'm glad it didn't happen. So the recessed appointments, let's face it, it's been around for a long time. Right or wrong, I'm not a fan of it, to be honest. I think it should go through the process of checks and balances as designed. But there was a little loophole there. And I guess maybe the founders thought it should be there. I don't know.
And it was Trump back in 2017 he was asked about different things with his taxes and whatnot that he said, "Look, I use the loopholes that are available to me through the laws."
Oh yeah, he didn't break no tax law. He used everything. Hey, I've used tax loopholes that do exist because I want to pay as little money as possible to any government entity. That's
Right.
my nature and always will be. I think they waste my money. So as little of it as possible. Hey, Keith, good evening. Keith was down here hunting. He's North Dakota. By the way, Keith, I should have sent you the picture I took when I fed some cows this evening. Right here behind the trees, just, I mean, right there, maybe 50 yards, if that. Big old nice doe. I shouldn't tell you
Mm.
that. So, I think you said you had drill this weekend and won't make it. So we'll definitely love to have you down here the following weekend.
Well, tell Keith that I'm coming up there on the 20th, and the way I shoot, he has no worries that I'll shoot his deer.
Hey, now you're gonna, if you see one, you'll get one, right? You got
My son's here though, but that's the thing. He's got the eagle eye.
see the dead eye.
Yeah, he's a dead eye. Me, no, not so
All
much.
right. Hey, but you did win one of our hardest competitions.
The governor, that was
That's right.
the governor trap shoot.
Yes, you did, and you won that one hands down. And I forget what we give you for a gun, but it was kind of fun, nice. I
Oh,
think.
that was a Kimber 45 two-tone, as a matter of fact, with some beautiful NRA grips, and I want to thank Brad for those.
Brad. Oh boy. Hey, Gene Cox, good to have you. He says this country is founded by no one wanting to pay taxes. You're absolutely right. Now, and taxes are taxes. I mean, I don't believe in property tax. I think it's probably one of the most unfair taxes, and we could go down that, but we'll try to keep it Second Amendment centered. But as far and I don't believe in the taxes we pay on guns. I know that we have Pittman Robinson money that was asked for. I think it has overstayed its purpose. I see these game and fish departments using it as slush funds and not what its intent was. In fact, we had to force them to start building gun ranges because a certain amount of that is supposed to be set aside, and they weren't doing it.
Let me throw a little something out. Let me throw a little something out at you. George Bush Sr. In 91, thinking that's what
Yeah,
about
that'd
it.
have been about the end of his term there. Yeah.
Had a nice thing that he did. He passed a ruling in there that is still in existence, and somewhere got it passed in there, and that the black ops groups in the United States government and different entities can take money out of slush funds like Pittman Roberts, out of certain charity things in order to cover to do certain things. And I'm not too fond of that, because knowing there's slush funds out there and nobody knows how much is in them, because it's almost impossible to find anything on the websites about the funds. I mean, it's an act of God right there, just trying to find that. But they make it so difficult that only the game fish and parks have access to the money. So why are we funding? We're funding them twice.
I never, most game and fish departments, at least in the Midwest, operate in the black to begin with. They really do. They take in enough fees and confiscation dollars, right or wrong, that they cover their expenses. They truly do.
Oh, but then they put in for grants.
Oh, yeah, grants like from the NRA Foundation, which we kicked out just about every time, and rightfully so. They had their own money for it and didn't support us. But that's a whole nother ball of wax. But I'll tell you this right now. Pittman Robinson to me has, and I didn't plan to go down this, but we're kind of shooting from the hip tonight.
Here we are.
Pittman Robinson to me has, again, like I said, it's overstayed. It's served its purpose. I know that at that time when it was created, it had to do with wildlife conservation, range development, and a whole lot of things. And it was a tax that is still being collected today on the sale of firearms and equipment,
ammo,
fishing gear, and ammo, and anything related to it. It literally creates billions of dollars each year. And hey, let's be the first one to admit it. Anytime there's a Democrat in office, it even creates more money because there's more sales of guns. And when that was broke out, me and Jamie actually did one of these. The most money that's generated is not from anything except it primarily comes from gun sales, because that is the biggest portion of that revenue generation, which didn't surprise me. I'm sure it doesn't surprise you either.
No.
So hey, Josh says, hey, me and the boy going to be down in that unit. That's my unit 3 of 2 this weekend if everything works out. Said he has an any doe tag. Got mine in 2I last weekend. Well, congratulations. I did not take my deer this weekend. I did find him. I know where he's kind of hanging out at. Lucky for me, Mike, he's hanging out in a sunflower field. And it looks like them guys are going to be cutting that, because I've seen they moved their equipment in today. So I really hope they cut that stuff here this week. That would be fantastic for me, because then he'll reveal himself. And with South Dakota opening up,
right,
a lot of deer are going to move north again. I know that a lot of them were down there. And if anybody who's listening to this show, can you please, if you are hunting in North Dakota, not park in the middle of the freaking road, man? Really? I'm so sick of, hey, Jamie701 Nation.
Yeah.
And if you don't have permission on land, stay off of it.
Well, I had a nice conversation with I was doing the thing called for my radio station called the harvest lunch, where I go out and take lunch to the families and whatnot that are out there and doing harvest time.
Right.
And I asked a lot of them that were doing hunting and stuff what they felt about the Onyx program. Of course, we're not sponsored by that, but the Onyx program and different programs like that actually show you exactly where the land lines are, who owns what, and when you know who owns what, it's easier. It's so easy to be able to then find out who to contact and whatnot. So, I mean, it's probably one of the best programs out there for that, and that has really changed the game, allowing you to have no real excuse. I mean, you're talking $99 a year. Just, hey, you spend that much more on crap from Cabela's, spend a little extra on that and ask permission.
Well, and what it does is there are so many great hunters out there. There truly are. And unfortunately, those kind of guys make it bad for the rest of them. They give them a bad name. And I don't really believe every hunter is like that. I can tell you though, Mike, as we go on, and it seems like the younger guys are coming in. And here's what I don't get. I don't know about you, Mike, but I'm sure you've seen, as when we were at the NRA, we were really working on youth shooting and youth hunting, getting the kids involved, right?
Right.
I do not know what happened with that, because somewhere along the line, evidently, they forgot about everything they learned and have this entitlement attitude now that we should just let them on because, well, there ain't nowhere to hunt. Start doing your homework long before you show up opening day. Okay.
Oh yeah.
Probably not good. And then build those relationships. Like this weekend, I had Keith down here, and I had a friend of mine. His name's Kelly. He was down here with his wife, and then I had another gentleman on the place. And I tell you what, these guys built a relationship with me starting 3 to 4 years ago, and now I let them pretty much have the run of the place. They know the boundaries now, and that's how that's supposed to work. And I have 3 tags. I have one, and both the boys do. So that was enough deer, as far as I was concerned, with the population I'm seeing on the places this year, to be taken out of the herd. I'm not going to really let any new people come on, especially that opening weekend, because we had enough people covering the area. We truly did.
Yeah.
And that's the joy of owning land.
And you do it ahead of time. You make connections with people. I've made great connections with the DeLang family down near, I want to say near Stickney, near us. They were talking to us about going out and doing some night scoping on coyotes and whatnot, and they have the scopes and whatnot. I'm excited by that. They invited my son down as well, and then I had the Wazork Ranch down here that says that they've got every night they've got raccoons coming to their silage pile. They said, "Come down, take them all out," and I'm like, you make those connections with people, and you have those connections for generations to come, because you do the asking ahead of time. Yeah, I agree. Yeah, it's just amazing that people just. What's base camp is the same and cheaper than Onyx. Well, good. All right, excellent.
And I know what base map is too. I'm gonna get to a few of these. So Josh, he chimed in here and he goes, "Yeah," he says, "Never understood the mentality of people parking on the roads. It wasn't just parking on the roads, Josh. They literally, I'll give you the situation that probably pissed me off the most. It was on a curve, a blind curve. They jump out of their pickup, all 4 doors, park it literally almost in the middle of the road to shoot a pheasant. Really? So is it worth your life if a truck is coming around that curve or a pickup comes around it and smacks you head on because it is a blind curve? That's brilliant.
Or just catches one of you climbing out of the vehicle.
Yeah. Or, hurts the person driving, as far as that goes.
Yeah, sure.
These roads are not abandoned, people. Just because you come out from a bigger area and think this is the Wild West out here and you can do whatever the hell you want, you can't.
Well, look, everybody
get hurt if you do.
we've got a generation of kids that have been watching Yellowstone for too long, and they think that they can do whatever the hell they want, and it's just wrong.
I mean, I even seen a gate that my neighbor up here, he's got some river bottom land, and he has had trouble with this group of guys that for some reason are still allowed on another person's piece of property. They've had problems with the game and fish. They've had lots of fines, tickets. Some of them have been banned for more than a year. I mean, these guys have a history around here. Nobody likes them, but they still get to come back, and they do cause a problem. Well, he had his gate chained and locked,
right,
and with a big sign that says no, bleepity bleep hunting and trespassing. But they did it anyway, and rather than cut the wire, no, they just took the wires loose on the gate from the post and then just left it there and trespassed anyway. And he happened to be gone that day, unfortunately, and they got away with it. And do we have proof of it? Not hard proof, but it's pretty much right by the land where these other guys are on, and they're known for it. So I told him, I said, I got a couple extra game cams. I said, before the weekend, I'll go up there and put them up there, and maybe we can catch these assholes finally. I've done it. I've put them on my land. I've been able to catch guys, get their plate, turned into the sheriff, and on that particular, and that seemed to help, honestly, Mike. Word probably got
the word gets out.
I know that I've got a reputation around here, and I don't care anymore.
What?
Ass.
We got to on your little board. We got to get that on there. Me saying what? Because I mean,
what's that?
On your little soundboard, we got to get that done. Me saying what?
Oh, there you go.
In case when I'm not here, we can get that still said. Yeah, and that's the thing is, fine and get a reputation. I'd like to see game fishing parks doing stuff like pursuing those guys that are trespassing instead of harassing everybody that's doing everything normally.
I mean, that would be more. They always like to put up game checks and do this and do that, and that's fine. But you probably need to be out there doing a little more when you get called. Even I mean, I know the one up here in Elgin got called this weekend over a possible trespass with poaching. They did come look at it.
Yeah.
But and I'm not in disagreement. As far as hard proof, there probably isn't any, and we can see what happened, but it's all circumstantial. But I know what happened there, and it was on the neighbor's lease of school land, and it's unfortunate. I thought there'd be a wanton waste problem, but again, who was it? We don't know. That's the problem. All right, let's get to a few of these other comments. Jamie says, he goes, what is the silencer trust? Like on a suppressor. And it was an executive order by Obama, or was that a legislative action? I think that bullshit needs to get reversed if possible. The trust, I don't know, Jamie. It seems like those to me came about after the NFA. I really don't know. That's a good question, but I'll definitely try to find out. Maybe we can find out and have someone on with 701 Nation too.
Right.
I really don't know what the creation or when the creation of the trust came about. I really don't.
Now, I did see something. Speaking about something else, I saw a story about a guy down in, was it Texas or Arizona, that they really want to push the machine gun thing now in the last days of the Biden administration. Suddenly, all of a sudden, it's gone from being assault weapons to machine guns.
Yeah, they changed terminology.
They're changing terminology, trying to make us look even worse.
Yes.
And I'm like, and a semi-automatic is not a machine gun. It's not a machine gun, and they want to use this terminology that we're all doing this stuff.
And I've seen what they're doing. They're going after the bump stocks again, and they want to go after the binary trigger. They want to lump it all in one now, and they think they can get this passed. A, the Republicans still own the House. Okay,
right.
B, the Senate will need 60 votes to pass anything. Not going to happen. I think what they're hoping is there's some lame ducks one in there that would pass it, but again, you're not going to get it through the House. It's not going to go nowhere. I mean, they can give it a valiant effort, I guess, to probably shore up some of their base. I'm sure they're licking their wounds pretty hard after last ass whooping. But I'm sure that's what that's about. That's to shore up their base and say, see, we're not defeated. We're going to keep trying. And they've already said they're going to, the next 4 years, they're going to just be at it. Fine, go ahead. President
they were
not going to
Jesus Christ at it last 4 years. It's just
I mean, even if they was able to get it through the House and the Senate miraculously, it's not going to get signed. It's not going to get signed. So, all right, a few more of these. Josh says, me and my boy have Onyx. One state is actually like 50, it's $35 a year, $99 a year for all 50. And I've had the Onyx app. I don't like who they support, so that's why I don't use them that much.
Oh, okay.
They support backcountry hunters and anglers out of Montana, where that's based out of. Horrible organization. They truly are not with us, and they are a bunch of liberals. But $99 a year is the one we used to have by Rax, Rax Adventure Team, and then we just shared it, which was great. And it is a good app. I'm not going to say it's not. Base Map I had for years, and same thing when Base Map come out. And then I knew the guy who helped create it. He actually came from Onyx. Well, he got basically pushed out of the company, so he sold out. He's no longer there. I don't even know who's running it, but I'll tell you this: Base Map is not what it used to be. I still have it on my phone.
Right.
It's not updated, and I know they have to pay for that information. I mean, even our place here still has my father-in-law and mother-in-law's name on it. It's never been updated. And then they had a piece that's called Reservation Land. It's not. We actually own that quarter, but they had it lumped in with another piece next to it. So Base Map and Onyx both have some issues that way, but as a whole, it's pretty good.
It's an improvement.
It is. Game and Fish has one, and that's the one to show all posted land in North Dakota. And it's fairly decent. I've looked at it. It allows a landowner to go on there. Once again, it's on the landowner. The onus is on the landowner to post his land, which is stupid, but I understand. I've never used it. I've looked at it. Next year, I'm going to post electronically 2 pieces of land, for the mere fact that it's hard for me to fence them.
Right.
And then when I put signs out, they get tore down. So I'm going to electronically post them next year. I'm fine with that. And then they can use that. Now, in North Dakota, I must remind everybody, just because it's not marked on the electronic posting database in North Dakota, because I ran into this weekend, the sign takes precedent. If there's a sign there, don't go on the land. And that is what the law states. And that is not my opinion. It's fact. And if that guy's listening tonight, fuck you. That's all I'm going to say. Because him and I had it out pretty bad. And I don't like cussing like that on here. But that guy pissed me off. I thought it was going to be a bad day. I'll just put it that way.
No, well, that's fine. And sometimes people need to be told.
When you pull your rifle or act like you're going to pull your rifle on me, what do you think happened?
Oh, yeah. Not a smart thing.
No, and I had the drop on him pretty fast. Anyway, you shouldn't have to put up with it. It's a deer, for Christ's sake. It's hunting. Yeah. It's supposed to be fun. I'm just glad my boys weren't with me that day. I really am, because that was just stupidity. And we've had some people that tried to come up my quarter line. Well, I can be here. It's a section line. Like, no, you can't. It's a quarter line. You can only be on the section line. Use your head a little bit. Try to be a decent guy. That's all we're asking.
Well, that's hard for people nowadays. It is hard.
And it seems like it's getting worse, Mike. And I don't know if anybody else has experienced it. Like I said, as a whole, most hunters are great. I mean, I've made some great friendships. Got some great. In fact, my new AC unit was a gentleman that asked several years ago. We've become friends, and guess what he does for a living? He's an HVAC guy.
There you go.
Well, I find out that his relative that comes with him. Well, guess what he does? And I was talking a little, and he's been hunting here too. Well, I just found out that he's an excavator. And he says, "Hey," I was telling him I got to put a new septic system in.
Mm-hmm.
He goes, "I'll come down and help you, dude. I'll bring my machine." How about that? I mean, and that's what's great. And I think I'm going to trade him on a little beef. He likes beef. So that's what this is about, making those relationships and friendships.
Yeah.
I'm not sure to get along with as people think.
No. Say, we're going to have a good question that I asked you about concealed carry for younger age coming up. We'll ask that when we come back from a break, but we should take a break real quick.
Yeah, we're already half hour into this already.
Yeah, there we go.
You going to play it, or you want me to?
No, you go ahead and do it, because I want to make sure it plays right.
All right,
but
we'll take a quick break here and thank some sponsors. Lauer Auto Repair, 309 South Washington Street. That's where you want to go. And if you've been out hunting hard and maybe had a boo-boo with your pickup, that'd be the guy to take it to. All right, let's pay some bills.
Hi, I'm with the Port Commission.
I'm from the Athlete's Foot Bandit.
Brother. Hey, can you get my demo tape to somebody?
Lauer Auto Repair, located at 309 South Washington Street in Bismarck, North Dakota.
Give them a call at 701-258-6308.
The team of mechanics at Lauer Auto can take care of any problem your vehicle is having. And when you do business with Lauer, you can be assured you're doing business with a pro Second Amendment America First repair shop. There are plenty of other auto repair shops in the Bismarck-Mandan area. But why take a chance at patronizing a shop that might not have your beliefs at heart? Make no mistake. Lauer Auto is your pro Second Amendment repair shop. When you talk to the guys at Lauer Auto, don't forget to tell them that you heard they are a sponsor of Guns and the 701 and that you appreciate their support of our pro Second Amendment, pro North Dakota live stream and podcast. That's Lauer Auto Repair, 701-258-6308.
701-258-6308.
Located 309 South Washington Street in Bismarck, North Dakota.
Experience the exhilaration of power in your hands at Bloodline Kinetics. Why Cerakote? Simply, it aids in firearm preservation while also giving your piece a unique look. Barrel threading, NFA laser engraving, bolt handle threading, mount, level, and bore, sight scope chamber rebarreling, and much more. Bloodline Kinetics is meant to reflect a long American lineage in gun ownership, who stand for the Second Amendment rights, Bloodline, and the science behind gun accuracy. Kinetics. To some, it's just a constitutional right that can go away. To us, it's in our American bloodline, and we believe it should stay that way. Here at Bloodline Kinetics, we understand that hunters, sportsmen, women, and gun owners should have a quality firearm. Stop and see us at 2008 Morrison Avenue 2 in Bismarck, North Dakota, 58504, Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. Call 701-390-7997. Visit our website, bloodlinekinetics.com.
All right, we are back again. Thanks to all of our sponsors. They do a great job. Speaking of Bloodline Kinetics, I did get my rifle back. Maybe in the next part I'll upload some pictures. But hey, nice looking gun. It turned out how I wanted it. We got a little issue with it, but we'll get that figured out. That's just what happened. It's not carrying that next round in, but I'm pretty sure it's pretty simple. I'll be honest, I haven't had a chance to look at it, but I think I'm going to be in Bismarck possibly next week, so I think I'll just take it along and have him.
I had the same problem with my my new Walther 9mm, but I think it's straight out of the box. It just needs to be a little more.
I think mine's a gas problem. Either the gas block is in there not completely straight, or maybe the hole got Cerakoted for it.
Right. Oh, well,
I think it's a gas problem. So
they'll take care of it. They'll take care of it.
JD
so the question,
I will load the mule with posted signs, a container of screws, my impact, some adult bevies, and drive around the property and put posted signs up. It's actually enjoyable. Yeah, I do that too, Jamie. There's two pieces there where I don't want to cross fence it. It's one pasture, and but I got to post it, but I don't want people on there, which is retarded. But that's what it is in North Dakota. So I'm going to electronically post those two pieces, and that's it. I actually had a guy try to kick me off my own property, saying that I couldn't drive on it because it's Forest Service land.
Yeah,
wrong. No, 80 acres that goes around it is. I said, we have the 80 acres in that quarter. No, you don't. I said, yeah, trust me, we do. I said, and I do have posted signs on that part. And that's what he was most pissed about. But the way it goes. Yeah, Keith says your gas rings may be lined up on that. Exactly. That's what I'm guessing it is. I just have not had it. I just haven't had time to look at it anyway.
Right.
So yeah, let's talk about, you've got an issue, and maybe
so my son Jackson turns 18. We were out sighting our rifles the other day, and we got him down. Well, it doesn't matter if mine's sighted or not. I might as well just throw it at it. But Jack's got his sighted really well, so because he's got a great eye. So we're sighted in and everything, but he was asking me the question. He says, I know I can't buy a pistol until I'm 21, but with the concealed carry law and the carry law in the United States or in South Dakota, am I allowed to carry a pistol, especially when I'm hunting? And it's one of those questions where I sat there and scratched my head and went, I'm not absolutely sure on that one. That's one that I've got to look up. So I know that you worked on the bill years ago down here in South Dakota, and it's one of those things I'm going to have to call and figure it out, unless we figure it out here tonight. But
yeah, I honestly, Mike, myself, I don't know. I'm not 100% sure on that. I know that there's been a law forever that you couldn't get a concealed weapons permit unless
mhm,
you were 21 years of age or purchase a handgun. We've all known that.
right,
But when we passed constitutional carry, I'll be honest, and I helped write that bill of states.
yeah,
And I do believe that that there is no age restriction in there as long as you're 18 and older, or 18 and I think what is it? Once you've reached the year of 18 years of age and are legally able to possess a firearm, there might be the issue
right.
because now with the new regulatory change at ATF, you're not legally able to probably possess or carry that. But I'm not sure. This is something I want to find out.
Well,
You're giving me
once again,
homework now.
it would fall into one of the situations whereas if it's legal in our state, then as long as you don't exit out of the state and hunt over in Minnesota or wherever else like
Right.
that, and then you wouldn't be able to.
Yeah.
But let's see, 18 in North Dakota to carry
Yep.
and possess a pistol.
Yeah, that's Josh has on there, and I guess you can get your concealed carry at 18 in North Dakota.
There you go.
I did
So that's
not know
North
that,
Dakota.
Josh. Thank you.
That's North Dakota. Thank you very
South
much, Josh.
Dakota, I'm just not sure, Mike, and we're gonna have to check it out. I would have to imagine when we pass that's yes, you can, especially if you're hunting, because there's different rules when you're even hunting
Mm-hmm.
in both states. So, Jamie says I always replace the 3 gas rings on the bolt with one piece ring. They're only like $5 and they work out. Yep, and we'll get it fixed. Like I said, I just plain ass haven't had time to look at it. I can tell
Right.
you this: I put a scope on it, one of them Brunton scopes, Mike, that I think I won at a banquet.
Right. I remember back when Brunton was doing a lot with us.
Yeah, and it's not a bad scope, but I never did like the field of view. But anyway, I put it on there just to see if it would hit. It
Mhm.
groups nice at 100 yards. I'm not kidding. Jacob did a hell of a job with that gun at Bloodline. So I'm not worried about the functionality of the gun or the accuracy. It looks like to me it's going to be a shooter, but I got to get that fixed because I don't want to shoot one shot at a time. I don't need a.
Well, my son Jackie got a 5-round magazine from his grandfather for our AR, and he's going to be shooting that this year.
Yep.
So we can carry illegally for that. But so I'm switching over and carrying his 243 Mossberg Patriot, which I actually like because it's lighter. It's got
Yep.
that fluted barrel and it's lighter and everything. But one of the things about that as well is he's got a Brunton scope on that we've had on there for a while, and it's so much better than what I've got on mine. The Nikon I've got on mine is just not. It's old and not good.
Yeah, the Bruntons, they always seemed like they were good. I mean, I'm not going to complain.
Well, I think they're a middle. They're a good middle of the road, I think is what it is. I mean, but I mean, I know Vortex is all the rage right now and everything, but we've seen other things that kind of go like that. But I don't know.
Vortex is great. I can tell you that.
Well, I tell you what, my brother-in-law has a Leopold on his, I do believe, and I would Leupold, yeah, and I was trying to shoot this deer way down into this gully, and I just couldn't see him. He was bedded down, and I just couldn't see him.
Mm-hmm.
And then he says, "Or take my gun," and I took a look in the scope, and I was just like, "Well, what the hell am I looking through? Jesus, a can with a open end. I mean, it was just amazing to go from one scope to the next. I mean, once you've been, you're kind of used to what you used to using, but yeah, once you switch up, you want to save money up and get better scopes. Yeah,
well,
for sure.
You can always make a gun shoot better for the most part, but you can never make a crappy scope be better.
Yeah, it's true.
And that's what I got told a long time ago by a guy. So I can tell you right now, I got a Hilux from Jamie that wasn't sure about. He didn't care for the scope. We weren't sure about the scope. So I got it and I put it on the 243 because we were having issues with that on Layton's gun.
Mm-hmm.
We took it up to that deer steel challenge, and it was actually, I can't say it was the shooter as much as that scope was all over. It wasn't holding center. But you got to remember, that was one of them Savage Access package deals. I imagine that scope just took a dump. It's probably a Bushnell or something crappy like that.
Right.
So I pulled the scope off. I put this new Hilux on and got her dialed in. And I'm telling you, that's a shooter now, Jamie. I took it out myself, and I'm telling you, that thing's a shooter now. I'm pretty happy with it. So, I'll get mine going. I know I got to tinker with it or just take it up to Jacob and do it and have it done. Josh says And like I said, he's a great sponsor, so I'm not going to bash nothing because I think the gun's solid. It's just, you know what, things happen when you're building custom stuff.
Oh yeah.
My neighbor has done some reloading for some of the custom rifles that Jake built, and they're all good shooters, very accurate. Yeah, I got to say the same thing. I had to, just me being me, I had to actually get that baby sighted in. I wanted to know what it would do. And that thing is shooting really nice groups at 100 yards. So, and that was a factory ammo. So I was very, very happy with that. Eric says, my Brunton scope I got at the bank was a piece of, yeah, I know all about that one, Eric. You're right. So I don't like Vortex either. I'm a Burris scope lover. Burris, you know what? I've got a Burris Eliminator. I do like that scope. That's the one where you hit the button and it tells you where to shoot. The new ones, I guess, are even nicer and better. Supposedly you can take a wind meter, a Kestrel or something, if it's Bluetooth, and Bluetooth at the scope, and it'll give you windage now.
Wow.
And that's fine at the point of ignition, I guess you could call it. But you don't know what it's doing out there, like when we was on Axe's range at 400 yards with the wind going this way and this way. It'll help you, but yeah. Vortex and Burris, JD says, have always been real good scopes for me. Yeah, and Burris isn't Burris anymore. I don't know if anybody knows, but Leupold actually bought them years ago, and that's when we had those in the banquets, those Burris scopes. That's why we had them, because we had a VDO agreement with Leupold, and they seem like they're good glass. I can't complain about them. I've got several of them too.
What was when we had those Montana rifles? We had a beautiful scope on those. Those guys, who were those guys making the scopes? They had the very crystal clear sights, and
those were those high end Leupolds, the LPSs. But Leupold built them. I've got one on my Lapua.
Yeah,
and I love that scope. I mean, that scope, there's nothing wrong with the scope. The scope and the gun can shoot better than I can shoot them.
Right. Yeah, I agree. And sometimes even a medium range or a medium, I guess you would say, quality gun can be improved with a better scope. And I think that's one of the things I need to invest in, because I've got some stuff that just it's kind of iffy.
It absolutely, you can always improve. You can always take a gun that isn't shooting well generally, and make. Well,
somebody mentioned Weaver in there, and I think Weaver is pretty much just for collectors now, right? I mean, that's
a lot of people like the K4s and the K6s, the old school ones, and they're nice, but Weaver's not. They're a medium, maybe an entry to medium, I would say. That'd be my opinion of them.
Right.
They're just, it's like trash go. I don't think much of their crap. I really don't. I've had some of them. Now, my Nikon Monarchs, and I'm not talking the Buckmasters and things, but the Nikon Monarchs, when they were making them, remember, Nikon has really gotten away from, I don't even know if they make a scope anymore.
Right.
But that was a hell of a scope. In fact, that's what I got on my Swift. Well, you've seen me shoot that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And Jamie has seen me shoot my Swift. My Swift, I still love that gun. It's the very first rifle I ever shot. It was my grandfather's gun. So I learned and I grew up shooting that because that's all I had. Boy, how I've come. But I just, the only center fire rifle I possessed was that, a 5.11 Remington that was a 22 long rifle, and a shotgun. That was it. It was an old Stevens shotgun. That was the three guns I possessed as a kid. So yeah, I had to really learn how to shoot, really. Right. So let's get a few more of these comments. Gene Cox says, yeah, entry level. And that was when we were talking about the schools. I agree, they're entry level. Josh says, I've got a couple Nikons. I love them, but they quit making them. That's just it. My Monarchs, I actually have several of them because I was a dealer for them at that time through Midway USA when they had their dealership program, and loved them scopes. I never had any issues with them. They were really good, and I'm still using them.
I'll see a lot of some of the auctions, some of the not consignment auctions, but some of the liquidation auctions for some places around here that we have for when people pass away or whatnot, and people are more interested in the scopes sometimes than they are the guns themselves. I mean, that's kind of because, like I said, like on the Nikons, they don't make anymore. When you find those, you kind of want to jump on those.
Yeah, and I think Gene can probably back me up. He's been in this business a long time too. But the K4 Weaver, which was the 4-power Weaver, my goodness, my grandpa had them. My father-in-law had them. I've seen a lot of K4s out there. K6s were the 6 powers. They're fixed power. And I don't know. The K4s killed a lot of things over time. They were the thing. I mean, they were the scope at the time.
Well, it's like having a 30-30 here in South Dakota. I mean, it kind of won the area, at one time.
Eric says my son's gun has an NRA Sports Optics scope on it. Who makes that? No other name on it. I assume Brunton. I think I'm going to get a new scope for that.
Yeah.
I remember them when we had those in the package, and I don't remember who built them for us. I think it was Brunton. I think Brunton is the people who built that for us. I just honestly don't remember. It's just like the Lucid L5s. I've got some of those. Mine have been good, but I can tell you right now, they're not great scopes overall. It don't seem like they're holding up. We put a lot of them out through the banquets, and I know a lot of those have had some issues. Now, Jason, the guy who owns Lucid, he has moved all production finally back to the United States. When he was getting started, he couldn't compete. Not then. He had to stay competitive. And the glass is all German made, and everything now is assembled and or manufactured right there in Riverton, Wyoming. So that's good to hear. And you can tell the quality's gotten a lot better on most of his stuff. But
that's one thing that I wish that Gnome would have done more of, that she kind of promised, but I wish she would have enticed more of those gun making and different manufacturers to move to South Dakota, and then same thing with North Dakota as well.
Yep.
A lot of them went to Wyoming, a lot of them went to different places, but I thought here would be a great place for them. But
yeah, a lot of them went to Wyoming. Probably better deals on taxes, whether it be income tax, corporate tax, maybe property tax. I'm sure that was part of it. But yeah, Josh says my son's Savage axis came with a Weaver, and I know a lot of them did. You just never knew what you're going to get with those packs. It was either Bushnell, I think Tasco, or Weaver, and I think if I remember right, aren't they all owned by the same company now? But I might be wrong on that. I don't remember. Anyway, he says, yeah, that went down the road, wouldn't hold a zero for nothing. And I've heard that part. And that's what happened to my sons on that Savage Axis 243. Well, Josh, you were up there. That thing was, when I brought it home, it was all over the place. I mean, we kept trying to dial it in and it just wouldn't. And finally I got home here, we put it in. Yeah, it wouldn't hold a zero. I'd get it dialed in, and then you'd shoot it another 2 rounds and boom, it was gone. So it wouldn't hold a zero. So yeah, I guess to me that scope probably make a great lever. Go ahead and bend it, whatever. It's no good. Right. Eric says that my Lucid Red Dot can't handle the 454 Assault, and I do believe that. I think I remember you telling that. So you got to remember, when it comes to optics, I think you truly do get what you pay for.
Yeah. I think you can get away with sometimes making a deal on a different rifle or different whatever, but when it comes to optics, you kind of have to pay the piper for it to get the good stuff.
Yeah. Brian Warner, he chimed in. He says, I have a K4 Weaver on a Parker Hale 25-06, works every time like Novocaine, never will change it. That's just it, and that's off his wife's grandpa's. That's what I'm getting at. Those K4s were good scopes. I mean, everybody I ever knew that had one of them, they never got rid of them. They never, and if they did take them off, they kept them. Like I said, they never got rid of them. So that's good to hear. I mean, it really is. Jamie chimed in here, says, most North Dakota politicians I've talked to claim there's no workforce here for gun and ammunition companies, and I call BS on that. I agree with you. First of all, I wouldn't talk to a politician about it. What the hell? Most of them haven't even run a business, really. So I know that there's some guys I've talked to about it. The biggest problem with a gun company, a new startup especially, is capital, as with any business, but especially in the gun business, because let's face it, there's a lot of options out there, isn't there?
There's a lot of competition.
Now, when it comes to moving, that's a whole nother story. When you build a factory where it's producing ammunition or producing guns, that you just don't pick up and move. There's a huge expense with that. A lot of times they'll bring their people with if they want to move, and a lot of times they will come, especially if they're from states that don't necessarily believe in a Second Amendment. Yet the gun company started there when they were, especially on the East Coast. Weather's one thing. I've heard that. I know in Remington at the time, before Remington and Marlin them all merged, Remington had actually talked about opening up, not necessarily moving, but opening up one down in the Sturgis area. And the big thing was our climate. They didn't think Sturgis was so bad, but as an overall, they just didn't like the cold weathers and blizzards that came through once in a while.
Oh, geez.
Down in that area. I was like, well, okay, whatever.
Whatever. Yeah. It
And then
seems
they said that
it does all right with us. Yeah.
and then getting, the one guy, when I talked with him there, that's when I still at the NRA. He says, well, he says getting the raw materials, and there may be something to that for, steel in particular. He goes,
Right.
where they were already located, steel was cheaper and closer to get. Probably
Well,
was.
yeah, when it comes off, off the ships and whatnot. Yeah, I can see
Well,
that.
he was using USA steel. He
Oh,
wouldn't
okay.
use
There you
anything
go.
back then. That's
Oh,
when
on the East Coast.
Remington
Yeah,
was
East
just
Coast.
Remington.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of things that go into that. I don't know what all the things are. There's a lot of levers need to be pulled to make it happen. But
Well, I know one of the problems, and I realize we're guns in the 701, but down here in 605 in Mitchell, we've lost out on a lot of different businesses because we're priced out on homes right now. We've got you can't afford a mid-size starter home is up in the $300,000, and that's not a starter home. That's not a starter home.
that ain't
And
just there, Mike. That's everywhere.
yeah, that's everywhere.
And
And so
inflation.
it's difficult because we've had places that wanted to build a factory here with 50, 60 workers. And, they were like, well, you don't have the structures yet for us to move people in here. And, it's just, it's a rough, and I guess that is kind of all over at the present moment, but yeah, it's just different.
Housing market is not. So the housing market's interesting. And yeah, it's very expensive to buy a home, just even a crappy home anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Especially in populated areas like Mitchell, Sioux Falls, the hills, the hills.
Yeah,
is a
forget
whole
that.
other- But Bismarck, you just name your area, right? It's even around here. A house that was selling for $20,000 around here just 4 years, probably 3 years ago, even, is now bringing closer to 80, and it didn't do nothing but inflation pushed it up there. And then the interest rates. Well, half these people, they don't even qualify for a loan anymore.
Right.
And then when they do get approved, I'm sorry, but man, I wouldn't pay that. I'm glad we own everything and I'm not paying interest. I can't even imagine in today's world paying that kind of interest. Hell, you can probably get a better loan from a loan shark anymore. I mean,
Yeah.
it's pretty bad out there. I do feel for a lot of people because they absolutely, home ownership's out of their reach right now, and they make $100,000 a year.
Yeah. When they were starting the oil fields up there, the gas fields up in North Dakota. Well, I say when it was really picking up
Right.
14, 15 years ago, I was looking online all the time at different places for sale and whatnot, and thinking, man, it'd be a great place to buy because you could rent it out left and right. Because I know guys, and we know a couple guys that build hotels for a living
Oh,
that
yeah.
were building them up there like crazy, and they were full all the time. For those guys working up there in the oil fields. And, it's like, they take these little homes. They were like $8,000, $10,000 for a home, and a functional home. Maybe it was just like 1 or 2 rooms, but it was still a functional home. And I'm like, well, that would have been a great investment. But yeah, right now you're looking at those same things. Jesus, they are just massively gone up.
Well, yeah, you can't afford to pay $300,000 for a home that was even, let's just even say 100,000 3 years ago.
Right.
Take even a 25-year mortgage out on it, and then pay the interest on top of it. It isn't going to happen. It's
Nope.
not going to happen. It's too expensive. I wouldn't do it. I really wouldn't. Let's see. Let's get to a few more of the comments that are coming in here. Okay, yeah, Josh is a good jack handle. Yep, that's right. That was when I was talking about that scope. JD says most guys have no problem living in a trailer as a starter home. The women are the ones who piss and moan about that. The boy, and we'll get to that here in a minute. We'll come back to One Shop Harris got demoted from camel toe to moose knuckle. I love that one. when that says, Mike, what do you think of Christy Nome's new job? Ed, we'll come back to that too. Okay. I know you have an opinion on that. Gene Cox, probably in our lifetime, according to liberals, homeowners will be rich. Exactly. You got to remember, not just home ownership, private property ownership is a cornerstone of having a constitutional republic in a free country. And if you can get rid or even narrow that gap of property ownership, you create serfs. And that's what's happening. We've done it with property tax already. We're all a serf because we all got to rent our property. And in North Dakota, they were able to scare enough people into voting no on Measure 4, and now we're going to pay. I'll never see that go away in my lifetime. Hopefully my kids will see it. We will see. So, all right, first let's hit on Mike, why don't you give us your opinion of Noam and her new job with Homeland Security?
I question whether that was where she is her strongest, and I don't think it's going to be. I don't think that's her bread and butter. I think that you can't take somebody. I think you would have been better off taking somebody who was a border state governor or something like that, and working with that direction. But we're isolated up here a little bit more than they are down there, and she had a lot of bluster and stuff like that. But I was thinking Secretary of the Interior. I was thinking Secretary of Agriculture. I was thinking something like that. But I don't know. I don't really feel it for her.
You and I
I-
agree on this, Mike. I bet you
Ooh.
didn't know that.
I don't know.
I don't think she might be good in there. I don't know why he chose her for that, honestly. When I look back at what happened during China virus, I mean, she couldn't even handle the debacle going on with the tribes who decided to close roads down, even though road right of ways on U.S. highways, which
Right.
is US 212, and some of the state highways, they had already been paid. The reservation did not own them right of ways or them roads. So they had no right to close them down at their border because they didn't have any jurisdiction. I would have sent the guard in and I'd have
Right.
explained life to them. But she did not have the fortitude to do that and didn't do that. What's she going to do when somebody gets mouthy with her on another issue? I do worry about that because I looked at things like that. She failed. Second
Well,
Amendment, she's
like I
good.
said, with Second Amendment, we're all about it. She was our girl for that. But for everything else, I don't know. I've always thought she was weak. I always thought she plays the victim card when she gets beat down on a subject. She plays the victim card, and I don't think she even the simple things. The controversies with her book and this and that and all that stuff like that. She could have handled that so much better instead of the way she did. And even better is that if you put out a book, don't put stupid stuff in there about yourself. How about
Don't
that?
leave it up to an autobiographer to do it. But
There you go. Yeah.
Lynette says, yeah, she was the first governor to send troops to the border. That's true. She was. So I don't know. I mean, I look at it this way: anybody Trump picks to put in his administration is going to answer to Trump. Let's
I
just
got one thing for Lynette on that one. She was the first one to send troops down to the border, and who paid for it? The South Dakota people paid for it because it was supposed to be paid for by a private donor that was going to pick up the tab, and they never did. And we end up paying for it. So her public photo shoot turned out to be more tax dollars being taken out of my pocket to send soldiers down on the border who did absolutely nothing.
Okay, there you go.
When you go down there and you stand, you're not doing anything.
Like I said, Noam on the Second Amendment is stellar. She was stellar on the Second Amendment as she was in the House of Representatives, and she was always pretty stellar in the legislature. And as a governor, she's been outstanding. I mean, the reason we have one of the best constitutional carry laws in the United States that basically emulated Wyoming's. I mean, I was involved in that. You know that, Mike.
Right.
Me and Stace, and there was a couple other guys that were involved in it. But I mean, we kind of wrote the nuts and bolts of that bill. And all we did was take the language from Wyoming, and it passed, right? And it got.
Right.
I wasn't there anymore when it got passed. It was a year later.
Mhm.
I'd retired already, but it got signed by the governor, and she said she'd do it. I mean, that was a promise made and a promise kept. Now she has her faults. I think on the CO2 pipeline, she's wrong. Obviously, initiated Measure 21. Guess what? That put a stop to that crap in South Dakota. The people spoke. So, not everybody's perfect. Jamie and I have had this discussion many times on politicians. If they're 80% versus 20, I'll take that because I know Democrats are going to be never with me, ever. And I'll take the guy that's 80%, including Noam, including Burgum. I'm not a Burgum fan. I am a Kelly Armstrong fan, and I know he's going to be the most pro Second Amendment governor North Dakota has ever seen. Plus, he's a real guy. If you haven't gotten to know Kelly, you need to, because he's a good guy. In fact, you can sit down and have a beer with this guy and just talk fun, guns, hunting, whatever it might be. Anyway, that's all I'm going to say on that. So now the other one we were supposed to get back to, which one was it? I know, so I'll come back to that one. Oh, the women ad. I got to address this one. Tell you what, let's take a quick break.
A quick break.
We'll take our 2 ad break. We'll do our 4 after that. And then I'll come back. I got to say something about this one because I know what he's talking about. So we will be right back.
Hi, I'm with the Port Commission.
I'm from the Athlete's Foot Bandit.
Brother. Hey, can you get my demo tape to somebody?
Lauer Auto Repair, located at 309 South Washington Street in Bismarck, North Dakota. Give them a call at 701-258-6308. The team of mechanics at Lauer Auto can take care of any problem your vehicle is having. And when you do business with Lauer, you can be assured you're doing business with a pro Second Amendment America First repair shop. There are plenty of other auto repair shops in the Bismarck-Mandan area. But why take a chance at patronizing a shop that might not have your beliefs at heart? Make no mistake. Lauer Auto is your pro Second Amendment repair shop. When you talk to the guys at Lauer Auto, don't forget to tell them that you heard they are a sponsor of Guns and the 701 and that you appreciate their support of our pro Second Amendment, pro North Dakota live stream and podcast. That's Lauer Auto Repair, 701-258-6308. 701-258-6308. Located 309 South Washington Street in Bismarck, North Dakota.
Experience the exhilaration of power in your hands at Bloodline Kinetics. Why Cerakote? Simply, it aids in firearm preservation while also giving your piece a unique look. Barrel threading, NFA laser engraving, bolt handle threading, mount, level, and bore, sight scope chamber, rebarreling, and much more. Bloodline Kinetics is meant to reflect a long American lineage in gun ownership, who stand for the Second Amendment rights, Bloodline, and the science behind gun accuracy. Kinetics. To some, it's just a constitutional right that can go away. To us, it's in our American bloodline, and we believe it should stay that way. Here at Bloodline Kinetics, we understand that hunters, sportsmen, women, and gun owners should have a quality firearm. Stop and see us at 2008 Morrison Avenue 2 in Bismarck, North Dakota, 58504, Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. Call 701-390-7997. Visit our website, bloodlinekinetics.com.
All right, we are back. So I am going to address what Jamie said up there about most guys would live in a trailer as a starter home, and the women are the ones that piss and moan about that. I have seen so much truth to that. I know so many guys, friends of mine, that they get married and I think they marry high maintenance women. Some of them, not all of them. I'm not going to name names. And then they need this or they need that. I think back to when me and my wife got married. We moved into a home that was built in the 70s. It was on the place here. I still had the shag carpet, had that ugly old walnut contact paper trim. I mean, it was a typical 70s ugly ass home, right? But it's what we could afford. So that's what we did. The rest of the place was my father-in-law's, my mother and father-in-law's, but that was the thing we could afford. So that's what we did. And then we started fixing and working on it. And then, I've got a lot of work to it. I've got a lot more to do to it. But you know what? I don't need a $300,000 home. I don't need a $100,000 home. And my wife is good that way too. And I know where Jamie's coming from. I mean, I've got buddies who, boy, their wives had to have this and they had to have that. And they had to have marble tops and they, you know what? No, you don't have to have
That's
that.
because HGTV told them so.
Yeah, start out with what you can afford. Why go into debt like that? But I think this whole new generation, they don't mind debt. They've been told their whole life, just get a loan. Yeah,
Just get a loan. Student loans, all that stuff. It doesn't matter.
Monthly payment. Don't worry about putting any money away. Hell, just go ahead and just make that monthly payment.
You're 2 weeks away. If you break a leg, you're 2 weeks away from going completely bankrupt. There you go. That's the way to be.
Hey, welcome to all the new people. We jumped up from like 20 some just on our regular ones up to 35, and we got pretty good numbers over here in Rumble too. It looks like 10 or better. So
awesome.
Welcome. Just in time at 8 o'clock Mountain, but that's okay. Now, getting back to the other stuff, like Gene says, he goes, demonize property ownership. They do.
Yeah.
And that she agreed with you on the choice. I will get up to here. Eric says that, I'm talking about Nome, she failed big time during China virus. She only looked good because others pushed her to keep the state open, not her. If it wasn't for others. You're right. So here's what happened. She was going to close it down, if you guys don't know that. but the legislature overruled her and they stopped her, and that is what happened. And then she took credit. Now, not unusual. I mean, I watched Jankel take credit for a gun bill that he was absolutely against, and that was reciprocity. But hey, he was campaigning that year, and it got passed, so he went ahead and signed the bill and took credit for it.
There
And
you
that's
go.
politics. That's just the way it is. Gene says, take the troops to the border a step further. Will the cartels be classified as terrorist organizations? I don't know. I do have a feeling that the new guy coming in here, I mean, I've seen the things he said, and his record from previous employment says that he means it. So I think there's going to be some pretty tough stuff happening.
What's the new guy's name? I forget what they.
Horton, is that how I forget how you pronounce his name too, but the guy is he don't take no BS from nobody. He just doesn't. He just doesn't. I mean, he got asked the question, well, what are you going to do about the separation of families, which don't exist? He says, deport them both. I love that answer. If you're here illegally, get the hell out. And that's what's going to happen. That's going to be the policy. Eric Newman says, people really like Noam because they like looking at her.
But that was in the day. That was back in the day. She was farmcore. I like to call that. That's my word. It's when there's hardcore and there's farmcore.
Tom Holman. There, that's the name. Tom.
What's that? Oh, okay,
Tom Holman. Yep.
So farmcore. She was a hot. And this and that. But you know what? She lost all that, and that's fine. And I don't care. I'm not judging her on that. I'm not judging her on that. I mean, you know what? If people want to cut their face up, as long as they're paying for it themselves, that's fine.
Do what you want.
But you know what? Don't lie and say you didn't get it done. We're looking at you. I mean, you look like Melania and like a cheaper version. And I just don't.
I don't like it. I don't understand it.
Got that permanent squint because your eyes are sewed shut, basically. So.
Yep. So we got Lynette. She says Kelly voted no on Measure 4. Yes, he did. He was against Measure 4, as was obviously, what was it, 62% of North Dakota voters.
Right.
They keep saying the people. Bullshit. It's of the voters, those that voted. It wasn't the people themselves, because we still didn't reach, I don't even think, 50% voter turnout. So it wasn't half the state. It was half the voters. And that's fine. That's how elections go. Kelly, though, is, and I can tell you from personal conversations, he wants to see some pretty big reforms, and not what they're talking about right now. We will see. I think someone told me there's close to 72 bills now that are being reviewed by Legislative Council for submission to the next legislative session coming up here in January. That's a lot of property tax bills. And I heard on the radio today a little bit about, well, maybe we're going to have a residential exemption. No, you know what? This is the problem. When you start carving out little pieces for this group or that group or that group, that's the problem with that. As far as corporate taxes on things, as far as, property goes, I don't know how you want to look at this. You can look at it one of two ways. If you give them a break to build, yeah, they might come and produce some money. But if you tax them at the rates that everybody else is taxed at, the people are still going to pay for that. I don't know which way is better. I'd rather it be transparent, say, nope, no exemption. Let the people, because it will be reflected. I don't know about you or me or anybody else, but if I'm in business and I have an expense, that being property tax, it's getting figured into my bottom line.
Right. Well, you have to
charge for a product. It's that simple. So corporations never pay taxes, just so you know that. The only tax they might pay is an income tax. Depends on how the whole company's designed, whether they're paying shareholders or whether they're paying dividends, things like that. But as far as real estate taxes, property taxes, this tax, that tax, they don't pay it. Sales taxes, they don't pay either. They just collect it for the state. They turned every business into a freaking tax collector. I've never agreed with that either. But that's the system we live under right now until it changes. But corporations will never, ever pay a real estate tax because they will pass it on to you. Plain and simple. Cost to do business.
Well, I mean, I can say the same thing about Boeing. Boeing is figured into their money that they make each year and how much they're going to pay out to their people, that we're going to have so many planes go down and so many people die and so many people are going to pay out. They've already figured it out in their thing. And see, I think that's wrong. I think they've figured that, they've cut out the engineering level, the middle level that used to drive industries. And instead we've got the guys down below that are getting all their benefits and everything cut and have to work 50, 60, 70 hours a week just to make a pissant wages. And then you've got the guys at the very top that aren't paying shit. Sorry about my language, folks. And basically milking everything. And then what do they do to the companies down the road? They'll buy up a company, they'll take everything out of it that's worth anything and sell it off to somebody else. The people down below don't get any of that. The people doing the work don't get any of that. The people up above, they say, you know, the Lee Iacocca's and the Jack Walsh's, I'm sorry, but those guys destroyed the American dream more than anything else.
Well, that may be, but they did trade.
Got on the soapbox real quick. Sorry.
Well, they you know, I'm going to take, you know how I feel about things like this. As far as a wage goes, you're worth what you get paid if you made that agreement. Otherwise, go find a new job. You know,
Yeah.
I don't belittle anybody at the top. I don't remember anybody but rich guys giving me jobs. Okay, plain and simple. Poor guys don't give people jobs because they ain't got no money to do it. And they don't own businesses. Plain and simple. Now, as far as the small businesses go, small businesses have been hurt by corporate America. There's no doubt about it. By some of the things you're talking about, Mike. Absolutely. That's where collective bargaining sometimes comes in. That's how unions got so strong at one point. Now they're on the downfall. And there's a lot of different things and mechanisms in that corporate structure. You know, I myself own stocks in businesses that pay dividends. Well, these are not businesses that are mom and pop shops.
Nope.
They're making billions and billions of dollars a year, some trillions. And I'm just a small shareholder that gets a dividend from that. And I'm happy. I mean, that was my choice. That's what I wanted. And I like what it provides for me and my family. But those dividends don't come without sacrifice somewhere. No doubt about it.
I just don't think we should sacrifice the little man that works for a living for trying to work for a living. And, you know, basically,
remember, you're not owed a job.
I'm not owed a job. No, I'm not.
Or
But you know what? But I break my back at something, and some fat cat up there and his freaking kid that never freaking worked a day in their damn lives are sitting there milking from me and got a $300,000 Bentley. Yeah, I'm pissed off at that. You spend $300,000 on a combine, I'm all right with that, because you know what? You're using it for something productive. Otherwise, you're just another Kardashian out there. When pretty much, you know, you want to go out in Hollywood and drop a bomb on that, I'd be more than happy. Do it during the Oscars. Let's get rid of all of them, and I'll be more than happy. But you know what? I just, you know, the same people that the bitch about, well, let's have a full equality and this and that. You know, they don't. They're not equality.
Nothing's equal, and it never will be, nor shall it be, nor should it be. I am not that guy. This is a capitalistic system. Plain and simple. I don't want safeguards like that. I do not believe in the equality. I don't believe in across the board pay raises in a corporation. I believe it should be on merit. There's a lot of things that can be changed. As far as the uppers, you know what? Who knows? They probably started out in the company and worked their way up in the beginning, and then they became the bosses and did probably not the right things or the wrong things. Who knows? But I would do no different if I was a corporate CEO and I had my son and he was smart, and I'd put him in a top position. That's my privilege, and that's just the way it is. And I'll put it this way, I'm not a big proponent of corporations, believe it or not. I don't like the corporate structure because of the things you're talking about, Mike. We were better off when we had small businesses, small business owners across the United States. We truly did. And how do we get back there? I don't know if we ever can, because we went global. We're not the United States as far as business goes anymore. But all right, this ain't really Second Amendment, but we have seen it some of that, haven't we? Yeah. And there's a big thing too, is I'm just going to get to that. When people started demanding for minimal skills a wage of $15 and $20 an hour, that's a problem. That's why your Big Macs now go to a freaking McDonald's.
Oh, good Lord, it's expensive.
Because then people think they're worth more money than they really are. I'm sorry.
A double cheeseburger, large fry, large Coke is $11-12, you know, and if not more. And that used to be what, $7? Yeah. You know, and I'm not saying back in the old days. I'm saying just a little bit ago. But yeah, you're right. They have taken the cost of business and translated it down to the people. But
they truly have. And you know, that used to be an entry-level job, and like JD says, starting out people at $13-15 an hour, I still can't get enough people to work. Seems like they're worth it nowadays. And I think saying fast food workers are at entry level is belittling the people. It might be, but I don't give a shit if it's belittling to anybody. That is an entry-level job. You know what? When you're 16 years of age or 14, depending the state you're listening to, and you're flipping burgers at McDonald's,
You're learning a skill. You're learning to deal with people. You're
learning
learning to deal with customers.
responsibility, okay? And you're
Yeah.
getting paid minimum wage for minimal skills, for minimal knowledge, okay? But if you're 40 and you're still there flipping burgers,
You've made a mistake.
You have to take a hard look and go, where did I screw up? Obviously, you had no initiative. You're not entitled to $20 or a living wage. Go better yourself. I mean, if I'd have freaking sat around waiting for somebody to give me a handout to give me a livable wage, well, shit. I can't even, I just can't imagine it because I'd have never done it. So anyway, and Lynette says you're better off ordering out from the ground around. There you go. Let's get to a few of these because we kind of relax on these comments. So, where do we start here? Minute 4. Gene says he stopped by Representative Armstrong's office in D.C. first day of summer session, but because we had him on the show. Well, thank you, Gene. But he wasn't in that day. Jamie says that I'm gonna put this one up. He says there was one, maybe two governors more conservative and pro-American than Nome, but yet people still bitch about her. DeSantis was one of them, and someone to the right falsely called him a rhino. I think most who bitch about them are doing it because they think that makes themselves look more like hardcore right-wingers. Could be, Jamie. I know you and I have had that discussion many times about Nome, DeSantis, some other people. I can tell you right now, and this goes back to Jamie and I have talked, you and I have, I'm going to go with the guy who I agree with at least 80%. And I'll be honest, if it comes down to a Kamala Harris, and this is a great example, or a Trump, candidate, and that's the choices we had, right? I'm going to vote Trump. There's no way I was voting for Kamala Harris. I know what she was going to do. And there's no way I wanted that kind of policy making. That woke DEI crap and climate change crap and whatever else. I mean, think about the shit that she believed in. Yeah, I'm not interested in having that. Even if I only agreed with Trump 51% of the time, I was voting for him over her. And
it was very telling. I'll tell you what. Go ahead. I'm sorry, but it was very telling on one thing. I saw a picture go around quite a bit. I think it was either Baltimore or one of the eastern cities, but the 2 days after the election, and they were covering up murals that they had done of Kamala, painting them back over again, the big murals on the walls. And I've actually never seen that before, because you'll drive places and you'll see, old signs and political stuff and this and that from decades gone past, left over murals and whatnot. But, it was like an active thing just to say, let's just forget this ever happened.
I think that a lot of people want to forget that she ever happened. Yeah, worst candidate possible, and we all know why. And she was anti-gun big time. I mean, she loved.
But she owns a gun. Come on, she owns a pistol.
Glock.
Yeah, Glock.
Her and Walls. He flutters around anyway. All right, Lynette says a lot of us were trailer park kids, me included. I grew up with JD down the street. Absolutely, I didn't grow up rich either. I didn't grow up. I mean, Dad made a modest living. He worked for the city of Lemon and did a good job. He was good at his job as the foreman, but we by no means, were rich.
Let me tell you something, though. There is a difference. There is a physical and emotional difference in my brain when I think of trailer parks in comparison to North and South Dakota, and when I think about living in the South. It was an entirely different thing.
Completely different.
It's apples and cannon shot. It's two different things completely. I think that up here, sometimes you got a piece of land, you didn't have a lot of money, you threw a trailer on it, and you raised a family, and then you built down the road. That's not what's in the South. And the simple fact that in the South, I remember I used to do remotes for radio stations, for trailer manufacturers, because South Carolina was one of the biggest states selling per capita of trailers. But you drive that thing off of the lot, and you lost like a third or more of the value right on the first day. And I'm like, that's no investment, that's stupid stuff. But I don't know. I just had a thing when I was younger in the South of never messing around with girls and whatnot that were in trailer parks, because I never wanted to end up there. But I'm sorry, Lynette, I know it's an entirely different thing up here in the North. But
Oh,
and I've taught that to Jack as well. You know what? It don't matter how hot she is. If
So-
she's living in the trailer down in the south, don't
like
do
to
it.
send Mike an email. It's Mike at guns and the 701.
701.com.
Mike
yeah.
at guns and the 701.com.
Sorry, guys.
Anyway, so, no, I know what you mean. I've been down there enough now that it is different. It's not like here. It definitely is not. So I got one here. Gene Cox says that there's a viral clip with AOC thinking she's got a gotcha moment. Yeah, I remember seeing that one, and yeah, he dominated the hearing. I mean, we're talking about Holman now. He just dominated her, and she really thought she was sounding intelligent. She just sounded as dumb as we all knew she was. Brian chimed in here. 62.4% was reported for North Dakota voter turnout. Okay, so it was a little over half, and but that's still not that great when you really think about how big this election was. 62.4%, pretty bad, really.
Yeah.
McDonald's is starting people out at 13.15. They still can't get enough people. Yeah, we went over that one. You're better off good. I'm just kind of rolling through these. I kind of lost track. Pound of beef is now about $5 now, and that affects the cost of Big Mac. Yeah, maybe. I don't know. I mean, McDonald's, whether they want to admit it or not, is still buying a lot of South American, Argentina, Central American beef. They bring it up here, and because of the laws, that they can actually classify it differently. But I wouldn't call that good beef. I really wouldn't. Gene says, at 40 years old, you should be the manager. Exactly. If you're 40 working at McDonald's, I hope you're the manager. I really do.
Well, yeah, you got to. I went into, there was a Burger King that actually went out of business. I mean, you know how bad things got to be when Burger King goes out of business.
Yeah.
But I walked in and there was a 45-year-old guy, and this is when I was 45, right? And
Okay.
I'm looking across at this guy, and he's got the Lenny from Motorhead goatee, right? The big long one. He's got the cowboy hat on and all that.
Oh boy.
He's got the freaking gut that is just massive. And then he's got a belt buckle that looks like it's almost to the size of being WWE wrestling belt buckle.
Wow.
You know, sitting there with this belt
He was no Hulk Hogan.
Yeah, no, he was not. But you know, and I'm sitting there looking at this guy going, man, I have made some better choices in my life. This is I don't even want you making my burger, to tell you the honest truth. I just apparently I wasn't the only one, but you know, I shouldn't be that way. But then again, I don't give a damn. You know, the world was made on people judging other people. Don't say you can't judge. I mean, you can.
I always got pissed about that. You can't judge someone. Yes, you can. Especially throughout my years, I've done a lot of hiring and firing. If I don't make snap judgments, I get the wrong people, or I have to fire them because I hired the wrong. You have to make a judgment. And yes, some stereotypes aren't earned, but a lot of them are. And I can tell you right now, if you don't have any kind of self-worth and you look like you rolled out of bed and you don't give a shit about yourself, why in the hell would you give a shit about the job I'm trying to hire you for?
Yep,
That's how I used to look at that when I'd hire people. So, well, that's here, Eric, I'll put this one up there. And you're right, Eric. So if you're eating at McDonald's, you have zero health concerns about your body and what goes in. That's true. And I don't eat there, but every once in a great while, I gotta just give myself a heart attack burger and get a Big Mac. I hate it's very seldom, but yeah.
Well, I'll say it.
I don't make a habit of eating there.
I've got the scar on my chest from the open heart surgery from a few years ago. So that's the thing. At 50, whatever I was, but now I'm 57. And once in a while I will go and have a disgusting burger. So Wendy's moved into town, and I hadn't had Wendy's. I hadn't had Wendy's in forever, and I had forgotten how damn greasy those square burgers are. I mean, when you go to White Castle's, you know what you're getting.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. White Castles are exactly what they are. They don't hide it. They're like an ugly girl at the bar that knows that she's ugly, but don't give a darn. She knows it and you know it, but you know that it's getting late and your choices are getting thin, and that's the thing. And that's exactly what White Castles was. So I'm just like, I understand it. But I went to Wendy's and I ate that thing. And I tell you what, I felt guilty after that. I felt like, oh my God, I think I just, I was waiting for my cardiologist to step out and just slap me.
I very seldom eat fast food. If I do, it might be it's going to be like Jimmy John's. It's going to be a sub of basically they make pretty good subs. I'm not a big fan of Subway just because of their politics. I try not to do business with them. Or I go to a sit down restaurant. I've gotten to the point where I might as well just sit down and go to it and have something decent to eat rather than eat junk food. I did plenty of that when I worked for the NRA, and it showed back then. And I don't miss it. I feel a lot better by not doing it. And I don't drink a lot of pop. Every now and then I'll have a soda, but I really don't drink soda anymore, and that's been good. I do indulge in whiskey now and then, but other than that, I try not to do any of that. All right, so Lynette Scott, you're right. She got the hate when she posted about shooting her dogs. If I even post that, I would feel so bad putting a dog down. I would never post it. Yeah, I mean it's if you're a dog owner, you're definitely not to put your dog down eventually.
I mean, we understand as farmers and ranchers and all that, there's a certain amount of animals that it happens, things can happen. I mean, I don't disagree with that. The stupidity of it is thinking that the rest of the country is going to go, oh, that's fine.
It was a dumb thing to have in her book. There's no doubt about it. Just the way it is.
Well, she was trying to put off the thing that she can make the tough choices. Well, and I don't think she can. In
leadership, if everyone agrees all the time, someone's not thinking. That's right. I agree. If you're agreeing all the time, then we got to wonder what's going on. He says, been 3 weeks now, and Tampon Tim is still trying to load his shotgun. Nice one, Josh. I love that. Well, we got an instructional video that Kelly did for him on air with us. We'll have to send that to him. Gene Cox says, who are the trailer park girls in Beavis and Butthead?
What? Oh.
JD says there's definitely different levels of trailer park dwellers. There is. I think we're not going to ever bring that up again.
Never.
Eric Newman says 62.4% voted, but 100% are pissing and moaning about politics, and probably 37.6% have zero right to piss and moan because you didn't vote. Absolutely, you should vote. Otherwise, shut up.
There was a few people that were throwing out the thing that we should have mandatory voting, but I don't know. Once again, the word mandatory just brings up something that I don't think the government should have the right to tell us anything. But I think there should be some reason why you've got to say to people, and we talk about shaming people all the time, or talking bad to people, or judging people. Maybe that should be what it is. A little shaming on the people that don't vote. Oh, you didn't vote? Well, screw you. You're an idiot.
One thing I heard all of our politicians, whether they were on the right or the left, talk about, oh, everybody, it's your right, go out and vote. I don't agree with that. If you're an uninformed moron, you shouldn't vote because you don't even know what you're voting for. I actually had people call me, how do I vote on these measures in North Dakota? I'm like, really? You waited till election day to ask that? Yeah. You really probably should just take your ballot and throw it away, honestly, because you don't have an informed voting right, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, you see it a lot.
I'm telling you right now, get informed on it. Make sure you go look. I don't care. If you were going to vote for the other side, at least make an informed choice as to why, not just because, oh, so-and-so told me. Yeah, I had an opinion on the measures, but not my opinion wasn't necessarily right or wrong. It was my opinion, and that's how I voted. I voted no on all of them except measure 4. Or no, I voted no on measure 1, 2, and 5, and I voted yes on 3 and 4. That's how I voted. And everyone said, oh, you voted against the marijuana law. Well, you and I have had this discussion, as me and Jamie have. The reason I voted no on that one, I could care less. It's like gun laws. You're not stopping anybody. They're going to do it. Why would you want to have that kind of government control, licensing, and regulation on a product now that you can buy open and freely on an open and free market through your local drug dealer? You're going to pay way more doing it there, and I don't want another red cent of tax money going to the government to waste, because they aren't going to do the right thing with it. There was nothing in there to alleviate any kind of taxes. They were just going to collect them. No.
Well, and we've said it before, we're all about adding more taxes, but we never take any off. We just keep adding more, And
the problems that it causes, I think, are far outweigh the benefits from, quote, tax money. That was their selling point. And I told one guy, I said, put a bill up there that says no taxes whatsoever, no regulation. And by the way, it's still classified as a illegal drug at the federal level.
Yeah.
So if you go buy a gun and you get the 4473 form and you answer the question incorrectly as a user, you just committed a felony.
Yep.
It's that simple. So yeah, you're not stopping it one way or the other. They're going to keep doing it. it's always going to go on. I do
You know, I
gateway,
always,
but
I
yeah,
think drug dealers are actually pretty stupid for the simple fact that they ought to be selling actual pharmaceutical grade Ozempic.
there you go.
I mean, Jesus Christ! I mean, with your insurance, it's still $600 to buy or buy the Wegovy stuff and like that. You know, to help you lose 40, 50 pounds. Think about that. You lose another 40, 50 pounds, you're going to live so much longer. You're paying into your insurance that much longer. But no, they want you to pay
And
$1,000. Jesus.
and yeah, we went down a lot of rabbit holes and maybe didn't do it
Oh,
the second
yeah, that was a
amendment
tough
time,
one.
but that's okay. We knew it was after the election, but I want to look at alcohol. So what do we
Mhm.
do? Okay, they got a constitutional amendment to ban it. All right, I
Right.
can respect the fact that they did it correctly.
They passed it.
They passed it, the Halstead Act. And then it didn't work. It created a whole underground, which gave us some of the most violent criminals in the United States for that time period. Probably cost
You mean
more
the
lives.
FBI?
Well, FBI,
Oh,
IRS, the revenuers, that's where
yeah, there you go.
revenuers came
Yeah.
from. And then, of course, on the other side, you had the Capones and you had Dillinger. I mean, just go down the line of mobsters that were in the alcohol business or running it or related businesses to it. So what they decided to do, oh, this ain't working. We'll get rid of it. Now we'll tax it and regulate it and license it. And that's what they did at every single level of government. And that's why beer and alcohol are so expensive. And people still make their own. They still bootleg it. You haven't stopped nothing. But one good thing it did create an entire industry called NASCAR because that's where most of the drivers
Bootleggers
came
came in.
from in the beginning. So
Yeah.
yeah, and by the way, all of those laws, as far as concerning alcohol, still are located under U.S. Title 18 under the IRS.
Now, I want to hit one quick
Treasury.
thing on what you were just talking about. Al Capone, I don't know. I've been so slammed with stuff at work that I haven't been able to really do much on our badasses of the week. And I apologize about that because we've got a bunch of them, but but Al Capone, I actually was getting ready to do one on him. He is the reason why we have milk that is inspected and pasteurized, not pasteurized, but the whatever they did to make milk safe back in the 30s. His niece was kept getting deathly sick because of tainted milk. So he was one of the guys who pushed pasteurization, and also he bent a few elbows backwards to get it through. But there you go.
I mean, yeah, that would have, maybe Capone's a badass of the week. They don't always have to be good guys, do
They
they?
don't always have to be good guys. I know.
But all right, I'm gonna get to a few more of these. Josh says it's actually cheaper to eat at a sit-down place than fast food. I agree. I don't travel as much, but when I do, you're absolutely right. JD puts on there, says, don't forget one of Trump's favorite foods is McDonald's. Remember, he was blasted on social media for saying he loves Big Macs and buying the college football national championships a table full of McDonald's. I do remember that. Like I said, I'm not a big fan of McDonald's. Every now and then, though, I got to go have one of them horrible burgers. Where is Waldo Tim? Yeah, exactly, Lynette. Jamie, he says here, no one will take the terrorists and American haters to the gravel pits. I've disposed of more than one unhinged dog in my life. That's funny. And if you don't know, guys, in her book, yeah, I'm sure everybody's heard about it when she talked about taking the dog to the gravel pits. So there you go.
Yeah.
And Trump's got every day. Go over to True Soul if you want to look at it. He's releasing just about every day some of his who he plans to appoint. I do like the one for Secretary of Defense the best. He's an actual combat veteran. He's a badass. Maybe he's supposed to be our badass of the week because that guy is badass. And
it's probably not anything that I can actually say publicly.
Some of the things he's talked about already, and I've seen some clips of some interviews. I like him. And wokeness there's not going to be any gay poem reading being done on our ships or in our platoons anymore. That's going to be out the door. Pretty sure.
What do you guys got against poems? Jesus Christ, I read poems. I mean, I read all that stuff.
Read all the poems you want. Just don't make them about faggots and gays. Oh, now we're going to get a ding. All right, Eric says, I'd rather eat at home or at a friend's place. I'm not a fan of restaurants. Well, And when you are, Eric, I've traveled a few miles with you. It's always a burger. We go to
Yeah,
some of the
yeah,
best
always.
places to eat, and always orders a burger. So, hey, Eric's cheap date, I guess.
Yeah, there you go.
Charity probably loves that. It's easy to take him out to eat. So, all right. So we're up to 8:30. This is not the show we had planned, but that's fine. I think it's been good. It's been informative, things like that. Let's take a quick, well, not a quick. We'll take our long break, and we'll come back and I don't know, Mike. Maybe do I don't know. You got a segment, or I don't know if we need to do the badass.
I don't think we need to do the badass. We've got an older one, but we don't really need to do it.
I do have a happy ending of the week, but if you got something quick, we'll do that, and then we'll call it a night. So
yeah, there you go.
Let's go ahead and do our big one, and we will be back after that.
Lauer Auto Repair, located at 309 South Washington Street in Bismarck, North Dakota. Give them a call at 701-258-6308. The team of mechanics at Lauer Auto can take care of any problem your vehicle is having. And when you do business with Lauer, you can be assured you're doing business with a pro Second Amendment America First repair shop. There are plenty of other auto repair shops in the Bismarck-Mandan area. But why take a chance at patronizing a shop that might not have your beliefs at heart? Make no mistake. Lauer Auto is your pro Second Amendment repair shop. When you talk to the guys at Lauer Auto, don't forget to tell them that you heard they are a sponsor of Guns and the 701 and that you appreciate their support of our pro Second Amendment, pro North Dakota live stream and podcast. That's Lauer Auto Repair, 701-258-6308. 701-258-6308. Located 309 South Washington Street in Bismarck, North Dakota.
Experience the exhilaration of power in your hands at Bloodline Kinetics. Why Cerakote? Simply, it aids in firearm preservation while also giving your piece a unique look. Barrel threading, NFA laser engraving, bolt handle threading, mount, level, and bore, sight scope chamber rebarreling, and much more. Bloodline Kinetics is meant to reflect a long American lineage in gun ownership, who stand for the Second Amendment rights, Bloodline, and the science behind gun accuracy, Kinetics. To some, it's just a constitutional right that can go away. To us, it's in our American bloodline, and we believe it should stay that way. Here at Bloodline Kinetics, we understand that hunters, sportsmen, women, and gun owners should have a quality firearm. Stop and see us at 2008 Morrison Avenue 2 in Bismarck, North Dakota, 58504, Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. Call 701-390-7997. Visit our website, bloodlinekinetics.com.
Ever tried catching a fish with your bare hands or hunting a deer with a stick? Don't be that guy. At Mandan Sporting Goods, we've got all the hunting and camping gear you need. We're your one-stop shop for outdoor adventure.
A well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state, the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed.
Check us out at mandansportinggoods.com, or better yet, stop in to 210 East Main Street, Mandan, North Dakota. Mandan Sporting Goods, where the outdoors meets functionality. Store hours, Monday through Saturday, 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. Closed Sunday. Take up arms at Mandan Sporting Goods. Your adventure starts here.
Looking for the best gun gear for every and any situation? Little Angry Man Arms LLC has you covered. Top-notch guns from top-name brands like Winchester, Glock, Sig Sauer, and Ruger to essential extras from Magpul's, Streamlight, Hollow, Sun Optics, and more. Little Angry Man Arms LLC have everything to make your shooting adventures a success. Visit littleangrymanarms.com today and gear up for your next big hunt, competition, or home defense. Don't miss out on our exclusive deals. Little Angry Man Arms LLC, based in Trail City, South Dakota, your ultimate hunting partner.
Yeah, hey, look, I got the moves like Michael, the flow like Aubrey, walk around thinking I'm a prince like Saudi. Mismatched Converse, t-shirts tucked in, know my worth, can't tell me nothing. White Nikes, albino, pink cop my stilo, head to...
All right, we are back again. Lauer Auto Repair, 309 South Washington Street, 701-258-6308. Best place to get your vehicle worked on. hands down up there in Bismarck, North Dakota. And they've been with us since the beginning. He was one of the originals that come on to support the show. So we really want to thank Axe and the crew down there at Lauer Auto Repair. And Bloodline Kinetics. You know what? Speaking of that, before we wrap.
Yeah, you got pictures of that?
Dude, I'm going to put them up here.
Yeah, we're not allowed to actually just hold the gun up now. We got to actually show pictures.
Right there, you can see what it looks like. I am very happy with the way this gun turned out. I took one when it was on the bench. It's a little bit closer up. That color actually changes. It'll look blue in some light, maybe change to a purple. I mean, that's kind of why I like it. It reminds me of those pearl coats. But I think what I'm going to do, though, I think I'm going to get the FDE or the tan. I'm going to get that and add those accessories for the buttstock and for the handle there. I just think that would look nicer on that gun than the black. But hey, that's what it's about, right? And it's got my name engraved. It's got 701 rifle engraved on the other side. And it's a cool looking gun. And like I said, it's my pimp gun. That way when people see us with it, they can come out and, hey, where'd you get that? I go, Bloodline Kinetics, and send them to one of our great sponsors down there. And I think Jamie's is about done. I saw a preview of the camel pattern. That's going to be a nice gun. So when it gets done, Jamie and I will get ourselves a couple pictures and we'll get them up there on all our social media platforms so you guys can take a look and see what you want. Maybe a good one ordered up. I think it's be a great gift for Christmas, right?
There you go.
There you go, wives. There you go. All right. A few chats come in. Jamie says, wasn't a lot of gun talk tonight, but it was a good show. Thank you. We appreciate that. And he asked what the story with the poems was. It was basically LGBT, whatever they call themselves, alphabet word salad group poem reading. And that's what it was. And it was taking place on some of our carriers as well as some of our military installations. And they were actually forcing the people to actually listen to it. That's what that was all about. And that was under your boys, you know what? Millie was letting that happen, as well as the Secretary of Defense's entire staff. They embraced all that crap, and that's going to be leaving. I'm pretty sure of it. So anyway, Dead Wolf Resistance 13.
I don't know. I'm looking them up right now, trying to figure out who they are.
Yeah, he's been out. He says, we will now take our country back beginning in the third year, I think. There you go.
So Dead Wolf looks like he makes knives as well, but I was just looking at some of the stuff on YouTube, and so hey, pretty good looking stuff real quick. I was checking a look at that.
There we go.
He's got a nice little drop one. I'm looking. Oh, I'll stop looking at that and do our show.
Yeah. JD says, well, then FK the poems. Then there you go.
At least make it rhyme, JD. Come on.
Yeah, come on. Yeah. All right. Hey, so do you got anything you want to do before I go to the happy ending or what?
No, we're all good. You know what? We're thinking, of course, next week, I'm going to be up there by you.
Yeah, you're going to be up here Wednesday night. You're going to be here in time for the show?
Yeah, probably will. If not, I will be doing it from the car on the way up.
Well, if you're here, that'll be great. Well, I'll just have you come in right here. You're staying here in town.
Right.
That place I got for you. So I got plenty of stuff set up here to do it now right here. So he might be joining me right here. And we made it work. We got a good dose of what to do and not to do when we did our live election coverage at Kelly's victory party. But learned a lot that night. And yeah, I think it'll just get better as we do them remotes. I suppose that's like anything else, Mike.
Right.
And we found out we can go more than 2 hours. Heck, I think we can go. We can go 12 hours on some platforms and 24 on the other. So they did upgrade us with that, and that was kind of nice to see that Restream had changed that.
Great, just what Clay needed for Clay to do the filibuster.
Well, we were live for 4.5 hours. We didn't talk all of it, but we talked a lot of it.
Yeah.
So we even had a debate with a guy with Measure 4, and originally we had that set up so we could have a microphone there and somebody could sit down. And then it's the computer. I'm going to be building now a better laptop for that because we need to have that capability. The computers we got are old. They were old when we bought them, Jamie and I, when we first started this. And now the ones we got, well, you've got one just like this desktop. We're building Jamie one now. So our stuff in studio is good, but I don't want to take that all the way across the country. So, All right, with that, and I should have loaded up my happy ending of the week deal I used to have, but this comes from Hialeah, Florida. You know, we get a lot of these out of Florida and Texas, don't we? Early morning incident took place here, November 2nd, so just a couple weeks ago. Heated dispute over a tire repair that ended in a fatal shooting. So, yeah, I mean, think about this. This guy evidently does tire repairs at any time. He must be 24/7. And probably going to want to carry, especially down in that area. Hialeah police reported that the mechanic, a 29-year-old Brandon Hurst, shot and killed 36-year-old. Now, here we go. I should have you reading this, Mike. Michael Lope Montes de Oca. Yeah, that sounds American, don't it? Anyway, after the latter reportedly brandished a machete, talking about knives, right? He brandished a machete in Florida. Now, Florida has some of the best stand your
Ground laws, yeah.
books. I don't think you ought to be bringing machetes to gunfights because I'm pretty sure that's what it's going to end up being. Anyway, he threatened to kill Brandon Hurst. According to police, then the altercation, when it began around 1:30 a.m. in the morning, Montes de Oca contacted Hurst, who operates a mobile tire repair service, to assist with a flat tire. Upon inspecting the tire installed by Hurst, he was pissed off. Montes noticed that it was a used tire and became highly agitated. Now, we don't have a lot of details on this, but who knows? Maybe the guy didn't speak full English. Maybe he didn't understand. Maybe he fully understood and was just trying to take out somebody. Who knows? Police said then he started to get irate. He accused Hurst of deception and escalated the situation with verbal threats. Lieutenant Eddie Rodriguez, he then explained that the dispute quickly intensified when Oka retrieved a machete then from his vehicle and advanced towards Hurst in a threatening manner. Well, what do you think happened next, Mike?
That would be boom, boom, good night.
Yeah, it was a quick response. Hurst, fearing for his safety, drew his firearm, fired multiple shots at him, and when I looked this up just quickly here in our break, looks like that he was hitting center mass. I mean, there was no walking away from this. He multiple shots at Montes de Oca, who was then pronounced dead at the scene when police arrived. He assumed room temperature all over.
Machine Donaka was dead at the scene.
Yes, he was. Something like that. Hurst was detained by police for questioning, then later released by the authorities as they determined that the shooting was a case of justified self-defense given the immediate and deadly threat posed by the machete-wielding assailant. And I think this just proves the point again that it is important to carry. Everyone always asks me, "Oh, how come you always carry?" I said, "Why not? It's my right." But I'd rather be carrying it and never need it than to need it and not have it because the one time I didn't carry. This is a great example. This guy works evidently 24/7, on call.
He deals with a lot of weird people.
Yeah, and it probably saved his life. That'd be my guess. I mean, someone comes after you with a machete. I don't think they're doing that for fun. Who knows? Maybe they called him was going to jack him. Who knows? But Brian wonder if he took the tire back. I don't know. Anyway, that's our happy ending of the week, coming to you from Florida, the great state of Florida. Also the home now of our 47th president. Dead Wolf Resistance says a straight edge shoot. Anyway, so that's our happy ending of the week. I think a lot of these other stories we're going to talk about, we can always keep them. I know there was one with a motorcyclist that fatally shot someone. I think I'll use that on Friday. I think that'll be a good one for Friday.
And 701 Nation with JD, of course, he's taken off, I think, no show tonight or next week. He's going to be hunting, which I've seen some of his videos. Yeah. And he says he plans on doing some live streams in the hunting shack through the weekend. So we'll be seeing some stuff of his posted on our social medias.
So yeah, he says no 701 Nation this tomorrow night or next week. So just be me and you and whoever wants to join in. We might have to bring somebody on. We'll see. If Jack is here, if you guys are in person, maybe we'll have to put Jack on. He's kind of funny anymore.
He is funny. I mean, if you can get him to talk, he's a funny kid. But you get him to talk. That's the funny thing about it is that when he's around you, and by the way, we love Jack. Jack is West River. Because he parks like you. When he goes to lots, he purposely parks like you. If he could actually get that Ford truck in 4 spaces, he'll do it.
I don't know. Hey, you paid rent on them all, right?
There you go.
So, all right. So next, the next time I'm going to be on, it'll be Friday morning with Mitchell in the morning. Me and Todd, we like to break it down there. 8:15 Central in the AM, 7:15 in the Mountain Central Time. I know I'm going to probably use that motorcyclist story, so tune in. I know that's going to be the happy ending on there. I don't know if we'll talk much election stuff. I think me and him covered that pretty good. I got a couple other stories I'm going to send to him. I can tell you right now, the Biden administration, I just seen that they're planning some things before they leave. They think they can pass something. I know Mike and I were talking about that a
They
little
can't
bit.
pass
before we
anything,
left,
no.
but they can't pass nothing. So probably going to talk about that a little bit and whatever comes to mind. Todd and I are kind of a lot of times, guys. A lot of times we're winging it now. I mean, it's just fun, good, interactive conversation, and it seems like it's working pretty good. So why change it, right? I imagine coming up the first part of the month in December, that first Monday, I'm sure we'll be on with Michael Bell on Dakota Mornings again. And that'll be the first time we'll have a chance to visit with Michael about the election. I don't know if he still will. I think it'll probably be shifting more now to the fact that what happens under Thune leadership, which I'm not happy about. I'm sure you're not either, Mike.
No.
I'm not a fan of Thune. I used to actually, I was a big fan. I helped
I
get
was, but I'm
elected,
not now.
and the guy is nothing more than a dweller. And I guarantee you, Charlie Kirk said if he doesn't hold his line and assist in what's supposed to be happening in the Senate, he's going to put. I'll make no qualms. He said about putting 100 paid people on the ground in South Dakota. It's not that big a state and it's not that populated. He says we just came through Pennsylvania, Arizona, and these others. No big deal. He says we will primary that man and we will retire him.
Yeah,
and if Charlie Kirk is saying that, it ain't a threat. It's a promise. He'll do it. And I'll probably get involved in it. I want to see Thune retired too. So anyway, we're going to talk with Michael Bell. I'm sure that very first Monday in December ought to be a good discussion. And hey, me and Michael were both wrong. I figured 306 electoral votes. That's what I was saying. That's what he was saying. Heck, even Kelly was saying that. We were all wrong. It was 312. So keep that in mind, guys. We were watching other things and had probably realer numbers than anybody else.
Yep.
Eric says, yeah, if he's baiting with bales so he can shoot deer with a crossbow, he's not talking about Jamie. So got to be a shot at Jamie, right, with the crossbow. Deer season, though, overall went pretty good for us in the opener as far as me and the boys. We were out there, saw some deer, didn't see what we wanted. I think we finally located one of those 3x2s. One of them's hanging out on the South Dakota side, Mike. And trust me, he's not a lot of points, but he is a big deer. And if he's over on that stubble just to the south of me, like he's been here off
I think it was Eric that posted one that had a lot of little crab.
Oh yeah, that's going to be kind of a cool deer later on.
Once he gets up, yeah, he was looking pretty nice down the
I
road.
don't know if you got turkey tags, but I got like 13, 14 turkeys too. So
I got a week. I guess I could put in for one.
Well, if you want a turkey, I'm pretty sure we can get you a turkey. Ask Eric. He came out here. We had to wait till they crossed into South Dakota, but him and his boy, oh no, it was just his boy and his girl both got 2 nice big toms. So we got a little small flock there that need to be thinned a little, but turkey season, I believe, still open. I have to check it out. I don't know. All right, everybody. Thanks for listening. Numbers were good tonight. I appreciate everybody tuning in. This is the first time we skipped last week. And Mike, welcome back. It was good having you. He called himself.
Yeah, the new job, the 15-hour days get a little. It's basketball season now, so I've got games on 3 days a week for college and everything else. So, and of course, equipment failures here and there, and it's all that fun stuff when you're in charge.
Well, tomorrow, next week you'll be here, so you got to get up early, but it's for a different reason. So,
well, it's all right getting up at 4:30 or 4 o'clock in the morning to go hunting.
Exactly.
I have no problem with that.
And in all honesty, like I said, if there's something just not too far away, I mean, you're right there. You can probably darn near walk out the door and do it. So.
Yep.
All right. Well, with that, thank you everybody for tuning in again. It was a great show. I had a lot of fun doing this, and even though we went off subject, but I think that off the cuff stuff's a little better anyway.
I don't know. We handled a couple of good stuff we were wondering about. Still got to find out completely about.
I'm going to find out. Yep. I'm
South Dakota
researching that. Absolutely. Yeah. I think we need to look at that. So, all right. With that, keep your powder dry, and we will see everybody next week.